Hello, welcome to Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I'm an elusive traveler in a very nice double-breasted peacoat, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome to another episode of Bloodhaus.
An elusive traveler who murdered all her children.
It's okay in some cultures.
It is, yeah. What's up? How are you?
I'm doing better than I was previously.
Good.
It is rough times in LA still, but the city's healing as much as we can. The outpouring of community support has been amazing. And meanwhile, the federal government is continuing to slide into a nightmare, and so I'm doing everything I can to both keep myself abreast of things that, for instance, Marco Rubio, who's now the Secretary of State, is saying about policies that scare me to my core.
Of course.
While also doing my best to separate them from my personhood and do my best to keep a level head and help other people out. A friend of mine shared a list of because it's the beginning of the year, of Girl Scouts, Girl Scout cookie links, just you can order Girl Scout cookies, and someone has made an index of Girl Scouts across the country that are trans or non-binary that are selling Girl Scout cookies that you can support through, and they all have these little blurbs written by these kids that are from 8 to 15 or whatever, that are trans and in Girl Scouts in Texas and Ohio and Nebraska and Wyoming, and they're all very my name's such and such, and I like hanging out with my friends, and I like math and drama, and I like playing Fortnite and stuff like that. Yeah. And I well up with tears every single one I read.
Of course.
And it's the past week has made me think so much about just moving to the Scottish countryside and never being seen from again. But then reading all of that really makes me want to stay and fight. And order 1 box of cookies from every single person on that list. Oh, I'm gonna get so fat.
I know. I've been thinking about this stuff, of course, and thinking about trans people. I have a number of trans people that are dear to me, yourself included, and I'm like, what can I do? Can I, I know that there's basically trans refugees in our own country who are American, who are trying to migrate from red states to blue states. And I'm like, can I offer my spare bedroom to trans people that are fleeing Kentucky or whatever to get to California? I'm trying to think of things that I can do, just small, actionable things to be of use, things that are not just posting on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
It's a tricky time.
But it's also, they've rolled back employment protections, so it's a lot harder for trans people in any state to get a job right now as well. I have friends that did exactly what you're talking about, were living in deep red states and have since moved to Chicago or New York, and socially they're doing better, but financially it's hard, it's near impossible for them to get a job, and the cost of living is so much higher in those places. Right. So I do have a lot of trans friends back in Indiana that have all been seriously discussing moving. And with the past month, it's kind of hard to convince people to move to LA right now, which I fully understand.
Of course.
But if you can in any way, shape, or form, or feel the need to, seek harbor in Chicago or Seattle or San Francisco or anywhere that the Village People sung about in the 70s.
Although now they're playing Trump's inauguration. Granted, there's only one living Village person, and it's the straight one for some reason.
They let a straight one in?
The one straight Village person, for some reason, is the only one who's
Let
still
me guess,
alive.
was he the cop?
I think maybe he was. But YMCA is Donald Trump's favorite song, which I'm so mad about because I dearly love that song, and I feel like it's been taken from me.
But that's not what it's about.
No, it's about having sex at the YMCA
Yeah.
with other dudes. But, what can you do?
I hate it.
I hate it.
Speaking of, well, anyway, how are you doing? How are you holding up?
I'm good. It's raining in Los Angeles for the first time in like a year, which is nice.
Much needed.
With our luck, probably it will cause like a mudslide that kills 5,000 people or some such thing. Who knows? But it does feel good and nice at the moment. I have a new hobby. I started woodworking.
Ooh.
My friend Eric owns a wood shop, and he was doing a table making class, so I signed up for it, and now I've got the bug. Like, I just want to be peaceful and make things out of wood, and it's really fun. My dad would be thrilled, but I haven't bothered to tell him.
Have you seen? I assume you've seen a lot of Portlandia.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the sketch called "He's Making Furniture Now"?
No.
About Fred playing like this elusive, mysterious boyfriend to a woman who keeps going up to people and be like, "Yeah, that's my boyfriend. He makes furniture now," and everyone's like, my god! And everyone becomes obsessed with him, and he's just making the shittiest chair in the world.
I have to say, it is like a hot boy hobby.
It's an extremely hot boy hobby.
I saw a photo of myself using a table saw, and I was like, damn, I look hot. And I've been watching a lot of good things. I just to rattle down the list for a moment, I watched Dangerous Liasons with Glenn Close, which I know your girlfriend Ivory loves.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. Yesterday I went to the Egyptian and saw a 35mm print screening of The Wizard of Oz, which was a joy.
Oh, beautiful. I just went to the Egyptian yesterday for a screening of a similar film, Wild at Heart. Yeah,
they're connected.
Yeah.
Because it's all part of a David Lynch retrospective, of course. Let me tell you something about the Egyptian. I don't remember if it was this way before because I haven't been since the pandemic. It's really frustrating that the two sides of the audience are walled off and that you can only enter the rows from the middle, because that means people who get there early sit towards the middle. So if you get there later,
you then have to funnel into this. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such bad design.
It was like that before the Netflix purchase and, rebuild. But there were more seats back then too.
It's so much smaller now.
They also got rid of the Spielberg micro cinema and the balcony. Yeah. There was a second theater inside of it that's gone. They replaced it with a kitchen, which is a crime because the food there, other than like the popcorn and soda and candy, is terrible.
It's never.
God awful. Josh, a few months ago I went and I got a hot dog because I was like, "Oh yeah, you can't fuck up a hot dog." We're seeing 2 movies tonight. I need some like sustenance. It was, first of all, one of the worst hot dogs I've ever eaten as like a link. But then it wasn't served in a hot dog bun. It was served like on Texas toast, folded around it. That was significantly larger than the hot dog.
Nasty.
So you're just eating dry bread. It was served with no condiments on the dog. And it was automatically served with these little white paper disposable cups of condiments that weren't labeled, that just come in the little box that comes in. And there's not enough of each condiment in each little cup to actually pour it onto your hot dog. So there's like ketchup and mustard and mayonnaise and I think relish, but there's only a little bit in each cup, so that you get this whole fucking disgusting white disposable paper cup, and that's got like a little bit of mustard at the bottom, and there's not nearly enough to go on the hot dog, let alone actually physically be able to pour it out because it's not viscous enough.
Yeah.
Worst hot dog I've had in my entire life, and it was like $8.
I don't fuck around with movie theater food that's not popcorn or boxed candy, and not counting places like Alamo or Nighthawk that like are for dinner in a movie. I don't fuck around with hot dogs or nachos or any of that stuff, and I never did. But now, especially now that I'm in my advanced, second half of life, in the past year or two, this really fucked up thing has started happening. Where if I eat greasy food, I literally get sick to my stomach and throw it up.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I've been eating greasy food my whole life with a passion. And
there's a lot of things that I've had to cut out as well. And, there's a lot to be said of American diets and the kind of foods that are available in America that are extremely unhealthy for you. I will say the New Beverly has an incredible hot dog and vegan dog.
The ArcLight had a good one back in the day.
Yeah. So it's the Egyptian makes me sad.
Yeah.
To a degree
all this was just to say, though, I watched a movie that is now one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think it's a movie that you don't like, actually. It's the Fellini movie, Knights of
Cabiria.
I
need to see it again.
It so much. I was deeply moved by it. Deeply moved. And I have not stopped thinking about it. It was not what I expected because I'd only seen a couple of Fellini movies and I think of them as more dreamlike and more symbolic. And this is more grounded and kind of naturalistic, except the lead performance, which is, oh God, I can't remember her name.
Julieta Messina, his wife.
Thank you. His wife, who is a brilliant physical comedian and is basically like, imagine if Charlie Chaplin were a woman playing a sex worker in a really sad movie. And that's what Knights of Cabiria is. And it's so funny and so cute and so deeply sad and beautiful. And I just loved it so much. I can't stop thinking about it.
It shouldn't surprise you that this is Sean Baker's favorite movie.
I know. Well, that's why I watched it, because it was one of the inspiration points for Honora. And I was like, oh, I've always meant to see that. I should watch it. And I wasn't expecting it to like it so much because I enjoy Fellini, but he's like not my guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think his movies are really beautiful to look at, and obviously brilliant. But he doesn't like speak to my soul the way that this movie did. I just was floored by it.
If you liked this one, you should watch some of his earlier movies from that same era. Before he started doing stuff in color, that's when he got more surreal, and you get like an 8.5.
Right, that's all I've
in black and white, but like all of that stuff might not be your vibe. But if you like Cabiria, you should check out like The White Sheik or Lestrada, also starring Julieta Messina, literally playing a clown in a traveling circus.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I was just deeply sad.
Floored. I was floored by this and just so moved, and God, I loved it. And then oh my God, Drusilla. So I finished it probably at 9:00. So it wasn't time for bed, and I had to like clean the kitchen after dinner and walk Edie and this sort of stuff. So I was like, I'll listen to some podcasts about this movie because I was so moved by it. So I turned on this podcast, 3 men hosts who are watching like the top 250 movies of IMDb. That's like the theme of their podcast. And they immediately start making fun of the movie and talking about how much they hate it, and they were annoyed to have to watch it. So I was like, fuck this. So I turned that off, put on another because I just searched for the movie in Spotify, right? Put on another podcast, which is 2 men watching all the Criterion movies, and they also hated the movie and started making fun of it. And I was like, do not let men have podcasts anymore. I'm the last man who gets to have a podcast. Like, I am done. Who let these men buy microphones and talk about movies on God's internet? I was like, fuck, what is happening with men? And then luckily I found a podcast called Other People's Movies, I think. And who's that actor that's married to Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Oh yeah, Sarsgaard.
Peter Sarsgaard. He was the
not
guest.
Sarsgaard.
Sarsgaard. Thank you.
He's not related to the Scandinavian family. Yeah,
he was the guest, and I guess it's a podcast where like actors and directors come talk about their favorite movies, and this was his. And so I was like, finally, a man who likes this brilliant movie.
It says a lot that people that are in the industry love this movie, but film bros don't love this movie.
I don't know what's not to like. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
They were all saying that it doesn't have a story, which isn't true.
That's bullshit. It's been remade so many times because there is a narrative and a character arc.
I really do have to say, though, one of the things that I liked about it so much, and I realized that I like this in movies when it's done well, is that it's kind of a series of vignettes that seem unconnected but add up to a whole. So other examples I thought of were Girlfriends, the 70s movie is like this. A movie that I'm also deeply moved by. Worst Person in the World is kind of like this. Those were the ones that I thought of, but I'm like, that's such a good structure for a movie when it works.
I love that too. It feels like a low-key picaresque. Like,
yeah,
it's not a big crazy adventure. However, it still has the cumulative effect and still like functions narratively in a similar way.
And it bucks the like save the cat rigid structure of screenplays that I'm just so tired of.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I saw Knights of Cabiria when I was like 14 or 15. It's the only time I've ever seen it. I saw it, I think, on a VHS tape or like something like really, really low quality. And my big takeaway, other than the overarching general plot, was that within the first 5 minutes, I was like severely off-put by a costume design choice that is there for the whole movie. And my 15-year-old brain just got annoyed by that.
Which costume? Her outfit?
Something on her outfit. Something that's a part of her outfit.
Well, the thing is that, like, it's not beautiful.
It's the socks.
Right. Well, she's purposely not beautiful, right? She's like kind of a clown character. She has a disgusting
and that
ponytail.
I love. Yeah.
All of the women around her are super beautiful, and she's like a sex worker who's too short, not glamorous, has a voice like a foghorn. You know what I mean? She is like a Charlie Chaplin-esque clown character, which is part of one of the great things about the movie. But I can understand that putting me off as a 14-year-old too. I would not have liked this at 14. I was a very unsophisticated 14-year-old in a way.
Yeah. I really, really, really need to rewatch it. And I'm overdue to buy that big Fellini box set. I still haven't seen La Dolce Vita either. So
yeah, me neither. I'd like to see
I
more now.
love his later surrealist films. I love Amarcord, which is kind of like a memory of his childhood. Like,
yeah, I really want to see
that lens. I really need to see Juliet of the Spirits, his first color movie.
That I've seen and really like, and I've seen 8.5 and really like, and I saw that movie from the what's the movie that we watched?
Toby Dammit, part of Spirits
Toby
of the
Dammit, which I really like. So that's all I've seen by him. So that's what I was expecting, and this was so different.
Yeah, his early stuff is like closer to like the neorealism movement that was going on in the 40s and 50s in Italy, and he's kind of like one of the central figures that kind of like ended it. I really, really, really need to see it again. I'm so glad that you loved it so much.
I loved it. I was just ugly crying the last 5 minutes, which isn't, not to spoil it, isn't like, it is very sad, but it's also very beautiful. It reminded me of Anora. Like it reminded me, if you love Anora, check out Knights of Cabiria. That's
like, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the remake, the American remake of Knights of Cabiria? Sweet Charity, the Bob Fosse musical?
I have, which I liked a lot, and I had no idea that it was a remake of anything. And I
honestly,
saw that maybe 10 years ago. So
you can watch them back to back and not really fully know they're remakes because there's so much about them that's different, other than like the main character's a sex worker. It's America in the 60s, so we can't say she's a sex worker. So we're going to be like, she's a dancer at a club, which again, Anora. And like, it gives it a lot more of like a Technicolor hopeful spin, and it has a slightly less mean ending. But I love Sweet Charity so goddamn much.
I want to rewatch that now. It's been a long time.
It's so good. I watched a movie that you gave me.
Oh,
I did.
know what this is going to be. I think
yes,
that you don't like it also. Based on your text.
Josh, listeners, gave me a gift for the holidays of a bunch of VHS tapes. Some movies I had seen before and deeply, deeply, deeply love. And some movies I had never seen before, like the Rodney Dangerfield movie Ladybugs, which is now on my stack over there to watch.
Which I'm sure you are going to hate.
I might like. I played soccer as a kid, and I like Rodney Dangerfield comedies.
It might be so retrograde that it's like funny and charming.
Yeah.
In a way.
I mean, I love the 70s Bad News Bears too. So like, might work on me. But yeah, you also gave me like Arsenic and Old Lace and like movies that I deeply adore. But one of the movies that you gave me, I had never seen, and you got very excited when you found out that I had never seen it, was the 1992 Curtis Hanson Nanny from Hell film, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Yeah.
Which I had never seen, but always like used to see that title pop up like in TV Guide in the newspaper in the morning and be like, I don't know. I used to confuse it with what's that Tim Robbins directed movie? Cradle Will Rock.
Cradle Will Rock, which is very different.
Which is very different.
Great movie too.
Which I also have on VHS, which I much prefer. But that's a movie about the rise of socialism in America in the 30s.
Yeah, in theater.
Yeah, which is different. But it's directed by Curtis Hanson, who made LA Confidential and The Bedroom Window and Bad Influence, and for some reason 8 Mile. And it stars Rebecca De Mornay as the nanny from hell who's going to get vengeance on Annabelle Escura for accusing her doctor husband of sexually assaulting her, at which more women came forward.
Which he did.
Which he did. To which then he kills himself while his wife, Rebecca De Mornay, is pregnant with their child. She then miscarries from the trauma of this and decides to then change her identity and take out vengeance on Annabelle Escura for ruining her life, and in doing so, take over her role in the family by seducing her husband and becoming more of a mother to her children. And somehow this movie makes time for a B plot involving Julianne Moore as a best friend real estate agent who is kind of set up to seduce the husband, but never fully does. And that's, no one in the movie fully believes that. And an even stranger and less well received over time be a plot about Ghostbusters Ernie Hudson playing
developmentally disabled.
A developmentally disabled handyman named Solomon, who is initially met with blind racist fear by the central white family when he shows up on their back porch.
Sure.
But then is accused of being a pedophile.
Yeah.
And then once he's cleared of being a pedophile, uses his brute strength to defend the family. And it's this movie.
Are you suggesting you don't like this movie?
I'm suggesting this movie is psychotic, and I cannot believe Disney made this.
It is a horrible movie.
It's a horrible movie,
but
Josh.
A delight.
It is cranked up to 11. Yeah,
it's trash, but I love it. This is the good kind of trash. This was made by Hollywood Pictures, which no longer exists, and it has the Sphinx logo. And in the 90s in Hollywood, people used to say, if it's the Sphinx, it stinks. Because they made so many shitty movies in the 90s, this being one of them. Arachnophobia is another one that jumps to mind. A movie
people like Arachnophobia now, though. Yeah.
I love it. I've always loved it.
They made Ed Wood, which is incredible.
Yeah.
There's a handful of Hollywood Pictures movies that are good. I think Down and Out Beverly. That was Touchstone. Down and Out Beverly Hills.
Very similar kind of vibes. Touchstone.
But Disney owned 3 separate quote unquote adult live action companies in the mid 90s. They owned Touchstone, Hollywood Pictures, and Miramax.
Right.
Which is fucking insane. Now they don't. Now they've consolidated all of those down except for Miramax to just being Disney. They've sold Miramax off. Most of the library is owned by Paramount, and now they bought Fox, and they have Marvel, and they have FX, and they have Hulu, and it's they need to stop. After watching this movie, I was like, who the fuck wrote this? And I looked up the writer. Her name is Amanda Silver. She has since written 2 of the recent Planet of the Apes movies, and the most recent Avatar movie, and the forthcoming Avatar movie.
Very important feminist screenwriter, Amanda Silver. I love this movie. It's super sleazy. It is a piece of trash, but the kind of 90s trash that I love. It's kind of up there with Disclosure and Sleeping with the Enemy,
Fatal Attraction,
these sleazy 80s to 90s.
Disclosure is insane and has that weird CGI bit in the middle.
Yes, it's so funny. That movie sucks so bad. All of these movies are set in Seattle, where I grew up, so I love that about it. Because Seattle was the center of the world for a brief period in the 1990s.
There's a great season, actually 2 seasons of the Karina Longworth podcast. You must remember this, called Erotic 80s, and then the sequel series Erotic 90s.
Ooh, I'd love to. That
covers this period. You would love this, Josh.
Yeah.
She did a whole episode on the hand that rocks the cradle in the 90s. in the erotic 90s thriller section that also covers the then rip-off movies of other quote-unquote blank from hell movies. So this is the Nanny from Hell movies, but there's also like the Secretary from Hell or the Babysitter from all like if you can get a secondary woman in your life, she can be a villain.
Did you ever see the 2000s version of this kind of thing, which is Beyonce and Ali Larter starring in Obsession?
I never saw
really
that, but I've heard of it. Yeah,
it's super fun. A piece of trash, of course, but delightful.
Well, it's so weird to me because like the like spectrum of quote unquote erotic thrillers is amazing. Because on the one hand, you can get really bold, creative, amazing movies. There's some of my favorite movies of all time, like half of Brian De Palma's output: Body Double, Crimes of Passion, Bound,
Basic
Crash,
Instinct.
Basic Instinct.
Like, love.
So many amazing things, but the opposite end of the spectrum is just garbaggio beans, just absolute some of the worst movies that have ever been churned out. And like so many of them are like Matthew Modine has moved into a new house and he and his wife are so happy, but bum bum bum, their landlord is Michael Keaton and he wants them out, and you're like, what? That's a real movie, by the way.
I'll watch them all.
I'm not making that up.
I'll take them all, and from good to bad, yum 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 yum, yummy in my tummy.
They tried one in the mid 2000s with Samuel L. Jackson. I think it was called Lakeshore Drive. To like it's so weird, and then like it kind of like spawned in the late 90s into like the like opposite. It was always like either a man having like an evil woman coming into his life and like seducing him away, or it was like a woman like in Jagged Edge questioning whether or not like a man that she is with could be a killer or not, which is like a big throwback to like old gaslight narratives. But in the late 90s and early 2000s, it kind of turned into a different like revenge version of this with movies like Enough or Domestic Disturbance with John Travolta and Vince Vaughn, in which John Travolta finds out that his wife's new husband is Vince Vaughn, and he's like horribly abusive to his ex-wife and to his child, so he's gotta like take the law into his own hands. Or like J-Lo has to take the law into her own hands and Enough, and like become like an MMA fighter and like escape her abusive husband. It's super weird genre.
Yeah,
it should come back. Baby Girl tried and it didn't have the teeth. Though I will quickly call out a new film that I saw this week that I really, really loved and had a great central female performance. A woman who came up in the 90s erotic thriller era. The new Pamela Anderson film, The Last Showgirl.
Oh, I really want to see this.
It's very, very good. I had a great time with it. I honestly, from the marketing, I thought it was a tiny indie film with Pamela Anderson in Vegas and nothing else.
That's a huge cast, right?
Huge.
Like, stacked.
Kieran Shipka, Brenda Song, Billy Lord, Dave Bautista, and Jamie Lee Curtis. It's a huge... And Jason Schwartzman. Oh. It's a huge cast. It's directed by Gia Coppola, who is Francis Ford Coppola's granddaughter. The daughter of his son, Giancarlo Coppola, who died in the mid-'80s. And who directed Palo Alto a few years ago. And
that was so horrible.
Yeah, her other movie, Mainstream, got really bad reviews as well. But I really liked Last Showgirl. It feels very much kind of in a similar vein as the Cassavetes movie Opening Night, or at least I feel like that's what's like striving for.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's all shot on 16 millimeter film. It's very much done on like a very low budget, and they're really letting Pam and Jamie Lee's and Kiernan's performances really, really, really shine. I wanted more out of it than what I got, but I really, really liked what I got out of it. It's not like a perfect script. I'm sure you would have notes on the script, but I absolutely love the performances. I love the style. And I thought it was really, really, really delightful. I didn't know what to expect going in, and I like laughed a lot in the first half hour and then ended up crying quite a bit in the back half of it. Which, I mean, it should also be noted that contemporary Pamela Anderson, especially in her no makeup era, significantly resembles my aunt and my mother to a degree.
Oh, really?
So emotions were brought up.
I really love the person that Pamela Anderson has become. And I've always been in her corner. You know, I'm a gay man, so of course I love a trampy blonde, but like she's just become a cool, interesting older woman.
Did you see the documentary that they put out on Netflix about her recently?
I didn't, no.
I worked on art for it. I think they used some of my art on the app on Netflix. It's great. It's really, really good. It's a great like insight into like her as a person outside of like the perception of her from Baywatch and tabloids.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really amazing. And massive cinephile.
Yeah, her Criterion Closet was pretty good. Pretty good.
She's great.
She loves David Lynch.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Lynchian films.
Yeah, speaking of great movies, this is a movie from 1978 that I had not seen, but I had heard of and always meant to see, and I loved it. It is directed by, I don't know if this is the right way to say this.
Pronounce like a Y.
Oh, Jerzy Skolimowski. And it is The Shout.
Greater than the frightening power of exorcism. More mystifying than any omen of reincarnation. The soul-shattering experience of The Shout.
This movie fucking rules. I love this. You were so right that this is a Josh kind of movie when you announced it last week. It is from the 70s. It's vibey. It has Susanna York in it.
Yeah.
It has Tim Curry in it. It has John Hurt in it. It has the English countryside. It has obscure witchcraft kind of threads running through it. It has psychotic, chaotic music. It's everything I love about 70s films.
It's cozy. It's experimental. It's like has one foot in being an experimental art house film and another foot being in like a psychological sex thriller akin to like a Polanski movie. It's really magnificent.
I loved it.
I had a great time with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we just watched Susanna York in Images last year.
It reminded me a lot of Images, mostly because of Susanna York, I guess. But yeah, something is similar there.
It also recalled Enna's Main for me.
That I haven't seen. Yeah, I haven't seen that stuff.
Dude, you're gonna fucking love Enna's Main.
I know.
Considering how much like this movie like revels in the English countryside and in isolation and personality and sexual fluidity and experimental like music production, I am certain that the director of Enna's Main, this is like one of his favorite movies. It's
gotta be. I also saw that the producers originally wanted Nicholas Roeg to direct this, which I can totally see. I mean,
especially after like Walkabout and Don't Look Now. Yeah. Like there's a lot of Don't Look Now. There was the moment I knew that you were gonna like this movie is while I was watching it. There's a shot in it where our main couple are photographed like walking through some buildings, and the camera pulls back to reveal that this is inside of a mirror of people like walking past with a mirror to like the other side of the frame, and then we pick up the like main characters as they walk like from the back as they walk into the frame. And from that very moment I was like, that reminds me of Don't Look Now. Josh is gonna love this. This is like that exact little mirror move is a very like subtle 70s like this is the language of Josh Conkel cinema.
I mean, I loved it even before that because the very opening moment we are at a cricket match at an insane asylum where everyone's wearing like little white tennis outfits, and I'm like, perfect. No notes.
Including a young Jim Broadbent in his first role, who then gets naked and slathers himself in mud.
In a jockstrap.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you would wear a jockstrap to play cricket, which like doesn't seem, I don't know that much about, but it doesn't seem like such a taxing sport.
Well, you do have balls going around everywhere, and the bats are pretty large, so...
It's true. It looks like it's just T-ball.
I no offense to our British listeners or people that are just generally fans of the sport. I don't understand cricket. I'm convinced it's made up.
I mean, I was married to a New Zealander, lived in New Zealand for a year. Cricket was always on, and I could not tell you a single thing about it. I don't know the rules. I don't know anything about it.
I fully have no clue, and I'm so glad that Jerzy Skolimowski, being a Polish man, doesn't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
Because he'll just cut around it in a way
British movie.
That's just being like, yeah, whatever. They're doing a thing.
Speaking of him being a Polish filmmaker, I was thinking about how much, after doing this podcast for almost 3 years, I know about Polish filmmakers. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can see the commonalities in their work, and he comes from like this sort of Polish literal school, the name of which I can't remember right now.
The Wajda Film School, named after the great Polish filmmaker Andrzej Wajda.
There is a commonality between all these guys from Poland, including Polanski.
Yeah, there very much is. That like there was a very specific filmmaking language that was taught, and like a way of approaching story and a way of like approaching cinema as a concept following the war. And Wajda was very much like kind of the like John Ford or Alfred Hitchcock of Poland, and he made fucking incredible movies. Ashes and Diamonds is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
And they very much like came out of that, and like the Polish filmmakers are fucking incredible. I've gotten really, really, really into Polish filmmaking over the past few years as well. The Wojciech Haas movies, I lost my mind. I'm deeply, deeply obsessed with the Saragossa manuscript, as I knew I would be for years, but finally being able to like sit down and watch it really blew me away. I've only seen one other Jerzy Skolimowski film, and it's also one from England and from the same time, Deep End from 1970, which was it stars John Mulder Brown, who was the like young boy in The House That Screamed.
Oh, sure.
La Residencia. As like it has that like British new wave swinging London like Billy Liar vibe like we're all hanging out and like, oh, there's a hot girl and I got a crush on her and stuff like that. And so it has like the vibe and language of that, and it takes a really dark turn that's very unexpected, and it's lovely. It's unfortunately really hard to get a hold of in America. But it's great. And I know Skolimowski has had a big comeback in the past few years with his movie EO.
Right, which I haven't seen.
He's also an actor, and he was in the David Cronenberg movie Eastern Promises.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's really, really great. I would love to get more into Polish filmmaking on the show. I mean, we still need to cover some more of Andrzej Zulawski's films as well.
Yeah, so. I would love to. Still haven't done Repulsion by Polanski, for that matter. We got to complete that trilogy at some point.
And I mean, the one that Shout kept making me think of is Polanski's Cul-de-sac.
Yeah, totally. I can see that.
I don't know about you. I personally love the setup and math of like either whether it's a play or a book or a movie of three people isolated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
usually
classic, right?
Usually like two people and then an intruder, right?
Yeah.
Polanski's done this a bunch of times. Knife in the Water is that. Cul-de-sac is that. Like the D.H. Lawrence book, The Fox, is that. There's a handful of plays that aren't coming to my mind right now.
There's a ton of them. And in fact, I was going to say that was one of the first exercises that I did in playwriting school, was like you write a scene where two people are like in a safe space, and then a third person that they don't know shows up. And then that's like the germ of a new play. So it's pretty common. And then this falls in the great tradition of movies about a terrible house guest, really.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So what is this movie about? Well, we open in an insane asylum, basically, where a cricket match is happening. And there's a new doctor played by a young, handsome Tim Curry, who is going to be scoring the match with one of the patients, Crossley, played by Alan Bates, who's incredible in this. And Alan Bates sees John Hurt there and says, let me tell you a story about this guy. He lost the love of his wife. And I've told this story many times and in many different ways, and I'm going to tell it to you now. So they're watching a cricket game while Alan Bates narrates the plot of the movie, which concerns John Hurt and Susanna York as a young couple on holiday in the English countryside. John Hurt is a composer of experimental music.
Are they on holiday? It seems like they live there.
Oh, it does seem like they live there, but the Wikipedia synopsis said that they're on holiday. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's their holiday house that they own, and I don't know. Anyway, they're in the English countryside in Devon. And John Hurt's character, Anthony, is the organist at the local church. And one day he's leaving church and somebody has flattened the tire of his bicycle. And lo and behold, it is Crossley who says, let's walk and talk for a while and talk about the sermon. And he's like, no, thank you. And then basically Crossley just like insists upon his coming over for lunch. He says he's been walking for 2 days on a walking holiday with nothing to eat. So feeling bad, Anthony invites him in for lunch, and then he just sticks around. And he seems to have a nefarious goal of some sort. He tells them that he's been living in Australia and the outback for 20 years, living with Aborigines, who he gradually tells them have taught him this death shout that if you do it, magically kills anyone who hears it. And to bring it back, Hand That Rocks the Cradle style, he's moving in on this marriage. And that's kind of it, right? I mean, I don't know, I'm just speaking extemporaneously, but
yeah, that's more or less it. The story becomes muddled in terms of its logical progression by the fallibility of its narrator. But also there is a concept along with the death shout of Aboriginal magics, of using totems to control people, and of using a bone to cut out people's kidneys to make them die, and also of stones containing the souls of individuals, and kind of like soul transference and soul breakage at a point in the film when John Hurt experiences the shout for the first time. He wakes up in the bottom of a sand dune holding a stone and is fully convinced that he's a cobbler.
Yeah.
And needs to mend his shoes until he drops the stone and realizes, I'm a musician, what am I doing? And then later in the film, he runs into the cobbler, and the cobbler's like, the weirdest fucking thing happened to me this morning. Oh my God, let me tell you.
It's so good. What I love about this movie is that it's very arty-farty, very strange, but it actually has a very simple story that is deceptively deep, actually. And one of the ways that I mean that is that I was confused by... So this whole movie, Crossley is telling Tim Curry's character that he's telling them the story, and that's what the bulk of the movie is. But there is this wraparound at the insane asylum, and I didn't understand why John Hurt's character Anthony was also at the insane asylum, and so was Susanna York's character. And then I was like, I Googled it basically. I was like, what could be the explanation here? And one possible explanation is that John Hurt and Susanna York at the insane asylum are actually not the characters that the story is being told, but he's just a mental patient, Crossley. And so he's like cast these people from the mental institution as the characters in the story. And so I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And in that way, it becomes a movie about storytelling, you know?
It's very, 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 very much about storytelling. And when I watched it with Ivory, because I was like, this seems like a movie you would like, and I know you loved Tim Curry, and she loved Images.
He's so handsome in this, by the way.
He's so, oh my God, it's like right after Rocky Horror, and he's buttoned down, he's wearing a little sweater vest, and he's there for the cricket match, and he does one move. Well, there's like a little footsie moment that's adorable, but he does one move at like the very end of the movie that literally made me shout from the couch. That I screamed, oh damn, when it happened. It was very exciting. But when Tim Curry is first introduced to Alan Bates by the head psychiatrist at the beginning of the cricket match, he says that his character has traveled all over the world, and he's very well read. He's been to a lot of different places, and he's been here. And then within the story that Alan Bates tells, he says, I've lived in Australia for 18 years, and at no point in that time did I see a white man. And you're like, so then you didn't go anywhere else.
Just Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love all the Australians. I mean, I have to say after this, and I loved it, and I went to Letterboxd, of course, as I often do. And somebody who didn't love the movie was talking about how it's like a white man appropriating Aboriginal culture. And I was like, can we just not do this? Like, I mean, it's true technically, but it's also like, that's not a reason to not like this movie. It's from a different time. Like, fuck off with this.
A, it's from a different time. B, it's based on a much even older short story in which Tim Curry is playing the author of that story. Robert Graves.
Right.
And on top of that, like, it's an unreliable narrator who is a mental patient who is like telling a story which within that story is espousing a like supernatural belief that it is in a native culture that is like entirely rooted in colonial myth, you know? So like it does make sense that this white man who is like, there's very few people more British than Alan Bates, would be making up a story or would have internalized a story about such topics and then prescribed them to a culture that he sees as being mystical and other and strange and bizarre. And that doesn't make it right. But it is in fitting with that character.
1 second. Yeah, I loved all of the stuff about Aboriginal death magic. I don't know if any of it's real or not. I don't know anything about that witchcraft tradition, which is saying a lot because I know a lot about witchcraft from around the world, but not.
And you lived in New Zealand.
I lived in New Zealand.
Feel like you would have had some time to research Australian.
Yeah, I would have. I mean,
like Aboriginal culture.
The indigenous people in New Zealand are Maori, which are very different than Aborigines.
Which is extremely different, yeah. But I feel like being on that side of the globe would have like piqued your interest.
I mean, Polynesian, this is like a tangent, but Polynesian people are so interesting because they were like the earliest, greatest sailors. So the Maori in New Zealand are very similar to Hawaiians, which are very far away from New Zealand because they are, in fact, the same people at some point, and that's how much they spread in just like little canoes. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. Their languages are very similar. Their art is very similar. It's crazy because the Polynesians were just like so fucking good at sailing, and all they had were these little wooden boats, which they took for thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. It's crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Anyway, the death magic stuff is really cool. I was super into all of that. I love his story about having an Aboriginal. They'd say it as a joke, like, did you have an Aboriginal wife? And he's like, yes. And then he tells them the story about how in Aboriginal culture, it's acceptable to kill your children if you decide that you don't want them, and how he killed all of his children because he knew that one day he wanted to leave and he didn't want to leave anyone or anything behind, which is upsetting to Susanna York's character because there's something about this marriage and children. They don't have any children. It seems like maybe they lost some or they're unable to conceive or something like that. It doesn't really get into it, but you get a little taste of it. It's the first moment of discord between them and this psychotic, terrible guest.
Within moments of being in their house and eating a tiny portion of food in the most psychotic way possible.
He's the most infuriating character. He's so unlikable.
Immediately says, I killed all my children. Do you find that strange?
That's shocking. He's like the most insufferable person on earth. I truly hate the character that he plays, although I love the performance, of course.
Alan Bates is incredible.
He's incredible. I don't think I've seen him in anything except I looked him up and he's in An Unmarried Woman, which I've seen and really liked. But that's probably
he's the like hot British artist boyfriend in An Unmarried Woman. I will say, highly recommend Women in Love.
Yeah,
the Ken Russell
I would
film.
love to see that.
He and Oliver Reed have a nude wrestling scene.
Ooh.
That has to be seen to be believed.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just look up that scene.
It's a Ken Russell movie. See the whole
I
movie.
know,
It's based
I
on
know.
D.H. Lawrence. It's incredible. I will also say that Britannia Hospital is a big favorite of mine, as is it's a smaller part that he has, but the Robert Altman movie Gosford Park.
Oh, I've seen that. I don't remember. I've only seen it once though when it came out. So
He's like the head of the like downstairs staff.
Oh, okay.
in Gosford Park.
that was the first Altman movie I ever saw. Isn't that weird?
That makes sense given the time
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosford Park's incredible.
Great movie.
It's very it's even weirder to me now to think that like Downton Abbey exists because of a Robert Altman movie,
yeah,
but it does.
it does. It's true.
Yeah, Alan Bates is like he was such a big deal in 60s and 70s British cinema that it's like hard to establish, and he never really made it over to America other than in like art house audiences. He was never like, I don't know, he never had like the big screen breakout
Of like
over
Oliver
here
Reed,
that, like,
who definitely
Oliver
did make it
Reed or
in
Peter
America.
O'Toole
Yeah.
or Malcolm McDowell, some to more extent than others, but well, even like Julie Christie made it really big over here, and you know, Alan Bates was like working with all those people, and like he was doing John Schlesinger movies, and he was doing he was in The Go-Between, directed by Joseph Losey, and like Alan Bates and oh god, what's his name? I'm gonna forget, and I'm gonna feel like an asshole.
Look at it.
Dirk Bogarde.
Oh yeah.
Alan Bates and Dirk Bogarde were both like huge matinee idols, and like Dirk Bogarde a bit more in the 50s, but like both really big in the 60s in England, and they just for one reason or another never really translated to American audiences. They like had smaller parts in American films and like popped up. Like Alan Bates is in The Rose and he's in An Unmarried Woman, and Dirk Bogarde was in like A Bridge Too Far, and stuff like that. But they tended to gravitate towards slightly more challenging roles in general that like only got kind of art house releases in the States, and didn't really, you know, aspire to the cachet. But apparently Alan Bates was very full of himself from the stories I've heard, and loved to like espouse about how everyone loves me, England loves me, and stuff like that. Like, I was in The Go-Between, and you're like, okay.
You know, actors are gonna actor.
He's perfect for this role.
He's perfect in this movie. His character's 100% insufferable. Once again, I was like, somebody just needs to be like, get the fuck out of my house. As soon as somebody sat down to my table and ate like that and told me that they murdered their children, I'd be like, get out of here. You cannot stay here. But British people are too polite. They're too polite.
And I love how the balance plays that Susanna York immediately is like, this fucking guy's weird. Why did you bring him home? I fucking hate it. I'm leaving the room.
Yeah.
Like, let me know when he's gone. And Alan Bates is like, fucking John Hurt is just like, we'll hang out. We'll go for a walk. Tell me more about the shout thing you do. And Alan Bates is like, well, I'll have to stay the night to do it in the morning. And he's, well, okay, that's fine. You can do that. And then after experiencing the shout, John Hurt's finally like, okay, yeah, no. You're a weird, dangerous person. You need to fucking get the hell out of here. And at that point, he's expressing more of his very bizarre magics on Susanna York. So now she is sat at her knees next to him at the table like a lapdog.
Yes.
Waiting to fuck him.
Yeah. I guess we're in spoiler territory. He does tell Susanna York's character that in Aboriginal culture, a man can control a woman sexually by stealing a little insignificant something that she owns. She's lost her shoe buckles in the top of the movie, and so that is the little token that he uses to control her sexually.
But that's not Aboriginal magic. That's European magic. That's like classic European folklore magic.
Well, a lot of this stuff is the same, and so
yeah,
I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about Aboriginal magic, but there's kind of similarities in like traditions from all around the world, and that pop up over and over and over again, and that's one of them. And just being able to control people or manipulate people by stealing either like some hair or a small object, or, you know, that just pops up all over the place. So it could well be that they have that in their traditions as well, because kind of is a kind of common theme in witchcraft. What else? Oh, the music is super weird. So John Hurt is an experimental composer. He does like a lot of Foley art as part of his music. So, for instance, he traps a bee inside of a jar close to the microphone. He smokes cigarettes into the microphone. It's just like totally insufferable music to me, but the sound design of this movie is a major theme. The music was composed by two members of Genesis, who started as like a prog rock band, but we don't remember them that way really. A lot of the times we think of like their 80s work and Phil Collins, I think, more often.
Yeah, Genesis is mostly from contemporary and American audiences thought of like the two members that left Genesis.
Yeah.
And the music, I should say, in The Shout is by Mark Rutherford and Tony Banks, who are the non-famous members of Genesis.
Yeah.
But the music's incredible. There's a scene in this that was like this here. I saw an interview with Jeremy Thomas, the producer, who produced like a bunch of Nicholas Roeg's movies and like some of the most important art house films of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. He produced a bunch of Cronenberg movies. He produced Crash and Naked Lunch.
Yeah.
And he said that The Shout was the first like art film that he was able to produce, and he like loved Skolomovsky and was super excited when he came on board, because he said that he turned like what anyone else would have made as like a horror film or a thriller into a mood piece. And I fully felt that while watching it. It's like outrageously hypnotic. There's a point at which John Hurt discovers the kind of domineering relationship between Alan Bates and Susanna York, and then flees the house and ends up at the church that he plays organ at. And the like electronic score builds and builds in this really beautiful soundscape. And I'm really glad I've got a good sound system at home, and I had it cranked up really high because the dialogue was pretty low at the beginning of it, and it flooded the room. And like the camera like swings from him passing by the organ to an old woman sweeping up the church into a dustbin, and then it like fades from that into the like craggy beaches that have a really unique shape in Devon that are like these long kind of eroded lines of stone that the beach has kind of like, which like mimics the shape that she'd been like brushing into, and it becomes outrageously hypnotic. There's a scene when Alan Bates and Susanna York are sitting at the table together, and they're having a conversation, and it's all filmed from the back of each other's head, and you get like half of the other's face on the right side of the frame cut off by the back of the other person's head, and it keeps cutting back and forth in like a very consistent rhythm of that, as she's kind of like kind and jovial to a degree and being polite, and he becomes slightly more sinister, and then we keep cutting back to her, and we slowly watch her expression change and her emotions shift. And then finally, like as it's cutting back slightly a faster rhythm, it just fades the reverse shot on top of the first one in a really surprising way. And it's the like way this movie builds tension and then relieves it is totally unconventional, and is done in ways that like on paper wouldn't work, but is in a way like builds and expresses the tension of the short story cinematically that works beautifully.
It does remind me of the editing of Nicholas Roeg and Polanski, though, in that the pace of it is so dialed in, it just kind of clips along. And one of the ways that it does that is the editing, which is very strange, and it often cuts out of scenes earlier than like a more conventional movie would do. So it just makes the pace like kind of clipped in a way, but also like sort of hypnotizes you. It
does
very
have some
reminiscent
of
of Don't
that.
Look Now and Rosemary's Baby and movies like that.
It does have some of the psychological elliptical editing of Nicholas Roeg. Nicholas Roeg, of course, does that far more than this movie ever would. Nicholas Roeg is doing that like all the fucking time.
Yeah.
It's hard. So if you've never seen a Nicholas Roeg movie before and you start at like bad timing or insignificance, you're going to have a hard time like getting your footing, because like every time you have a scene, it's going to like wipe in transition or like hard cut. You're going to get like a jump cut flash of like Amish people in the countryside as David Bowie drives past in a limousine. You're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
What is that for?
Do you know what movie weirdly has kind of similar editing? Is like, when I watched it with my boyfriend the first time, I was like, don't look. He likes to look at his phone and like Google the movie while we watch a movie sometimes. And I was like, you cannot do this during this movie because you will totally not be able to follow it. And that movie is Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which has like such crazy clipped fast editing.
Yeah.
I was like, you absolutely cannot look away for even a moment or you will be totally lost.
Well, the editing in Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is
so insane.
First of all, top tier.
It's so good.
Batshit. But it's genius.
Yeah.
It's like it is absolutely like it is cocaine fast.
Yeah.
And every time someone says a line of dialogue, you get a matching or contradicting image to go with it. It's got my favorite match cut in any film ever, in which a character goes to get an abortion, and then it hard cuts to an extreme close-up on someone making pancakes.
Yeah.
That is one of the most upsetting shots ever. And the cuts ever. And then like the pullback reveal is amazing. I also think about the editing in the car sex scene of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls all the time.
A Rolls. There's nothing like a
Bentley. Not even a Bentley. And just all the like
the logos.
The editing in that movie is incredible. I will also say the editing in Myra Breckenridge is very, very similar.
I haven't seen that in like 25 years, and I've only seen it once.
But what they do differently in Myra Breckenridge is they have less footage because the director of that movie walked off the set after a while.
Oh, yeah.
So they will cut back to scenes you've already seen or scenes that will happen later, like suddenly and jarringly. But then more often than that, they mix in footage from films from the Fox archive.
Oh.
So like they mix in Shirley Temple clips
that's cool.
Like stuff from 60s movies and a lot of like black and white films and stuff like that. And because so much of that movie is a critique of Hollywood and discussing the way that 60s, 70s Hollywood is so radically different and is continuing to push far past it, like presents the artifice of old Hollywood in the same way that Myra Breckenridge herself is presenting an artifice of her personality that is built on old Hollywood. And it's like, I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of issues with that movie, but I love that movie and I love that book. And I think the smartest thing of that movie is the editing. It perfectly captures the writing of the book in such a genius way that is like uniquely cinematic. And I think The Shout has extremely similar editing.
That feels very Roger Corman-y to use clips from other movies.
Yeah. The editor for The Shout was Barry Vince, who also edited Deep End, but maybe more famously edited the late 90s gay coming of age classic Get Real.
Oh, I loved that movie when I was a teenager. I really loved that.
So there's some real talent behind the camera there.
Yeah, Get Real's a great movie, or at least in my memory it is.
And the cinematography for this movie is by Mike Malloy, who shot a slightly tangential, incredible British film from the 80s that unfortunately doesn't star Tim Curry, but I could understand why many people would think it would. He shot Shock Treatment, the Rocky Horror sequel.
Oh my God.
One of both of our favorite movies.
Love it so much. Do you know, on Blue Sky recently, I saw two young trans women who were arguing about Rocky Horror Picture Show, and they both hated it and felt that it was transphobic and felt like, there's a defense of that movie that you or I would say, which is like, the movie's aged in a weird way, perhaps, but it is made with like really positive intentions. And they felt like that was bullshit and that the movie is clearly made with ill intent toward trans people. And I didn't participate in that conversation, but you and I have talked about Rocky Horror a lot over the years. And so I was like, I'm not going to engage in this, but it's just an interesting thing to be a fly on the wall of, because I perceive that as like the most radically positive queer media for like decades and decades.
Yeah, I think it's a positive depiction. And also, like, Frankenfurter's not trans.
Well, there's that too.
Like explicitly Frankenfurter is not transgender. The song is specifically will clue you in. Frankenfurter is a transvestite, and there is a large difference between a transvestite and someone who is transgender.
Yes.
So Frankenfurter is a transvestite from transsexual Transylvania.
Yeah.
Does not mean that Frankenfurter is transsexual.
Right.
Other than in ethnicity, I guess.
Yeah. He's also Transylvanian,
so,
for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. I assume it's like Eastern Western Germany. I assume there's a wall going between Transylvania. That's unfortunate to me. And like, I'm not that old.
You're not even 30.
I was watching that movie when I was in high school.
Me too.
And like my entire generation of queers also grew up adoring and celebrating that movie. But I don't know. I mean, like, my relationship, my antagonistic relationship with a different, quote unquote, gender bent queer musical that has been beloved by some audiences, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which is one of my most hated films and pieces of work ever. And I know a lot of people that are like, how could you ever think that that's bad? But like, that movie is explicitly dealing with the trans experience.
Yeah, it is. It's a different thing entirely.
Rocky Horror isn't at any point.
I have to admit that I did love Hedwig and the Angry Inch when it was new and I was young. And over the years and knowing more trans people, all of whom hate that movie that I've ever talked to, that movie, or that stage show and movie, are made with not a single thought towards trans people or their experience. It's a thoughtless story.
It's a thoughtless ripoff of the lives of actual trans people.
It's hard to
that John Cameron Mitchell knew to create a character for himself to play.
It's hard to defend in that respect, other than to say, like, I like a lot of the songs a lot, and it, some of the dialogue is really funny, but it just, he clearly didn't think about the experiences of actual trans people at all, in my mind, writing that. And so in that way, it's pretty hard to defend. And I'm willing to let that go in a way I'm not willing to let go of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Stuff like Hedwig only makes me like angrier that like people defended this and championed it so long, and now we have Amelia Perez because of it. How dare you? Like,
I mean, that's true of like all movies.
We would not have Amelia Perez if it wasn't for Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and it makes me so mad.
Yeah.
Both of those movies make me so mad.
From penis to vagina. I see.
I will say I hate both, but at least Hedwig does have slightly better
songs.
Music than
it has some really good songs.
I don't think the songs are that good. I especially considering the context of the movie. They're flat out like theater show tune songs when they shouldn't be narratively,
right?
Which bugs the shit out of me outside of everything else about that movie. But anyway,
I love the song Sugar Daddy. That's the one that I mostly love a lot, which is like kind of a country song.
That one. Okay.
Anyway,
I remember not liking the country song. Anyway, Tim Curry's amazing.
Super hot.
And as someone who was raised on Tim Curry films, I know you and I both love Times Square,
Clue,
and Rocky Horror, and Clue. Oh my god, Clue and Legend,
Worst Witch,
and
you're a Gen Xer.
Treasure Island. And for the millennials in the crowd, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost.
Yeah.
It was so, I felt like there was no new Tim Curry to have. It seemed to me that like I'd had all the Tim Curry that was available to me.
Yeah.
So watching The Shout was like just
It was
hearing
really
his
nice.
voice and seeing young pretty Tim Curry was very, very, very satisfying to me.
He was so
I mean, I watched
handsome.
fucking Congo years ago just to get a new Tim Curry fix, and I regret it.
I love that movie so much.
Oh, do you?
love
My friend
it.
Scott is like the biggest fan of Congo on the planet.
I read
loves
the
that movie.
book before the movie came out. I was like 12. We were on a camping trip and I read the novel and was terrified and really loved it. And then the movie came out, and even I was probably like 14 when that movie came out, and I was like, this is bad, but I still really liked it.
Well, Vinegar Syndrome just put it out on 4K,
thank
so
God.
it's time for you
It's
to
about
pick it
time.
up.
I love the gorilla Amy that's like, Amy wants
Amy.
cigarette.
Yeah.
Amy
want martini.
She's so me, for real. How many cigarettes do you think John Hurt smoked in his lifetime, by the way? Is it countable?
My God. Well, considering that I just saw Wild at Heart last night, not nearly as many as anyone in fucking other Lynch films.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because that's like the one thing he didn't get to do in Elephant Man is smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
It's like the one character in a David Lynch movie that doesn't get to smoke a cigarette. I forgot that every single time Nicolas Cage smokes, he smokes 2 cigarettes at once in Wild at Heart.
I haven't seen that in
That's
so
insane.
long. I need to re-see that. It's time.
It's the fucking
I
best.
love Laura Dern so much.
The Blu-ray is out of print.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need to borrow a copy, I have one, but hopefully that means Criterion will release it soon.
Yeah, someone's got to get on that.
God fucking damn it.
Anyway, I love The Shout. Let's move on.
Hopefully Criterion will release The Shout now.
Yeah, please.
That's how I watch it. It's streaming on the channel, and it just has been for like 2 years now.
I realized after I watched it that it was on Criterion, because I watched it on fucking Tubi, so I had to sit through like 20 minutes of sports gambling commercials.
No, that's gonna ruin the hypnotic vibe.
It did, but I still got it.
Also, it's like an 80-minute movie, so that's gonna make it like 2 hours.
Yeah, it did.
Oh no!
Let's play our favorite game, Have They Seen It?, where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. Do you think that star of Shock Treatment and Rocky Horror Picture Show, Nell Campbell, a.k.a. Little Nell, ever saw this movie?
Isn't Little Nell Australian?
Mm-hmm. She is.
I'm going to say yes, she has. Fun fact, did you know that The Shout, when it was released in France, was titled L'Australien?
Oh, really?
It's literally just The Australian.
That's a bad title. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention.
That's a bad title.
A fact. This movie was nominated for the Palme d'Or, which it did not win, but it did win the Grand Prix Jury Prize at the Cannes Film Festival.
And it shared it with the insane Marco Ferreri, one of my favorite Italian directors, quote-unquote sequel to King Kong, Bye Bye Monkey.
Oh my God, that sounds crazy, and I desperately want to see it. Speaking of Congo.
Yeah, you should look at Marco Ferreri. I think you would like his movies. Yeah, I definitely think Little Nell has seen this. I think she would have been super, I think big prestige, new weird art kind of movie coming out of England. I think Skolomovsky was a bit more of a internationally well-known name at the time. And I feel like she would have been super excited to see Tim Curry sharing scenes with the Alan Bates. Oh my God. But I can't do a Little Nell impression.
That's pretty good.
Save my life. I can't get squeaky enough.
I know kind of an unhealthy amount about Nell Campbell. I have all of her records. I'm a big fan. Here's a fun fact about her. In the book and film American Psycho, they always hang out at this club called Nell's, which was a real club. It was one of the hottest clubs in the 80s in New York City. It was on 14th Street. And unlike dance clubs like Tunnel, Nell's only played classical music, and it was someone's townhouse basically, and they just it was dark and fancy, and that was Nell Campbell's club. It was hers. That was so what she did after she sort of stopped acting. And then also I know that an actress I love, Michelle Williams, before her husband passed away, the great actor, I can't remember people's names anymore. From 10 Things I Hate About You and Joker, he died of
Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Their brownstone in Brooklyn that they lived in before he died was Nell's. They bought it from Little Nell. And I always wondered if little pink hairs got found on the hardwood floors.
Do you think they know how to do the swim?
I think they do. I hope so.
Oh, That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll know. I think Nell saw. I think
Probably.
This. Yeah. This movie weirdly marks the film debut of a British actor who's been in probably more noteworthy movies than almost anyone else, and who most American audiences know is, oh yeah, that guy from like any British movie, the great Jim Broadbent.
Who is he in this movie?
He's the mental patient playing cricket who at the end gets naked, and covers himself in mud.
Yeah.
Jim Broadbent, who, if you don't know from the name, you would know from the Paddington films, or Moulin Rouge, or Hot Fuzz, or Cloud Atlas, or Brazil, or Time Bandits, or the wizard movies made by a transphobe, or Gangs of New York, or Robots, or Bridget Jones's Baby, or like The Crying Game. Like he's in, or like anything directed by Mike Leigh. Like Life is Sweet, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I adore him. I think he's an incredibly talented actor. Whenever he shows up, there's like a like safety and security that like, oh, this is going to be good. But I always think of him now playing a Polish immigrant in the Paddington franchise. So I wonder if any of Jerzy Skolimowski's accent has rubbed off on him in that way. But do you think that Paddington Bear has seen the British classic The Shout?
The cartoon character Paddington Bear?
He's not a cartoon character. He's a CGI
character.
He met the Queen, Josh.
Yes, famously he did.
So he is real. He does exist. He goes to cinemas.
Yeah, and he seems fancy to me too. So I feel like this is the kind of movie that he would have seen. I think yes, I think so. Do you think that Paddington is related to the Sleepy Time Tea Bear at all? They feel very similar to me.
Possibly.
Like related.
I mean, the Sleepy Time Tea Bear could be just another one of the bears in the home for retired bears down in darkest Peru.
Yeah. I think Paddington is very fancy. I mean, let's be honest, his outfit is Burberry for sure. Yeah. He's very British, very posh coded. So I think he's seen this movie for sure.
I mean, he is an immigrant. He's learned the British customs through, rehearsal and osmosis. So
he's so classically English. I forget that he is an immigrant.
He's a Peruvian immigrant. He's sweet little baby boy. This movie might be a little too sexually risque for him.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Susanna York, I don't think her character even owns a bra in this movie.
Why would you wear a bra if you're Susanna York?
And living in West Devon with no one around, but the vicar popping his head into your bathroom window occasionally.
Hot vicar for some reason.
I thought
like
you were gonna
very young.
He's a very young vicar and gives a very impassioned speech about how no one these days has faith anymore to a crowd of mostly middle-aged balding people that are significantly older than him.
Yeah.
Literally preaching to the crowd. Yeah, I feel like if Paddington has seen this, he's had his eyes covered for a few scenes.
Yeah, probably. And it's a kind of scary movie. I actually found it genuinely upsetting in moments.
I found it exceptionally upsetting and very surprising. I had no idea where it was going to be going.
This is a person who reminds me somewhat of Susanna York, although now we think of her as like one of the grand dames of English acting. And a lot of people might not know that she was considered like a hot babe in the 60s because she has big boobs. Do you think Helen Mirren ever saw this?
Oh, I love Helen Mirren so much.
I think a lot of younger people generally don't know that she was like a sex symbol in England in the 60s.
If you
she had huge knockers.
Only think of Helen Mirren as that old lady who goes to the Oscars, I urge you to watch The Long Good Friday.
Yeah.
First of all, maybe the single best synth score of all time. It is so fucking banging, it will be stuck in your head for the rest of your life. But also, Helen Mirren as like a gangster's mall who is like whip smart and mean and hot as hell is incredible. Also, naked Pierce Brosnan. So there's a lot of selling points for that movie. Highly recommend. I mean,
she's still hot. She's known as being as a hot older woman, but I'm just telling you, she was also a hot young woman.
Exactly. That's the thing. Whenever anyone's like, oh my God, Helen Mirren, she looks so good for her age. You're like, she looks so good, period, because she always has. Similar, like with, not to deride, I mean this in a positive way, but with Pam Anderson right now too, everyone's like, oh my God, she's rocking the no makeup look. She looks incredible. It's like, yeah, she's Pam Anderson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Duh. You shouldn't be surprised. We've all known this.
Yeah.
But yes, I think Helen Mirren absolutely has seen this. I think she saw Deep End. I think she was like well aware of Solomovsky. I think she was a big Alan Bates. I think she did some films with Alan Bates.
Probably did. She's sort of the same generation and ilk as him.
Yeah. So
and Susan New York, for that matter.
I'm gonna say hell yeah. I'm gonna say 100% absolutely.
We also know that she's a huge cinephile. Otherwise, she wouldn't be the host of Documentary Now.
You're right. She is and for over 50 seasons.
Yeah. I love Documentary Now so much.
Oh my God, I love Documentary
Sandy
Now.
Passages is like one of my favorite things that's ever been made.
Oh my God. I think about Coop so often.
Yeah.
The co-op.
Co-op. Yeah, Joel's obsessed with the co-op. So Helen Mirren's a yes.
Helen Mirren's a yes. And simply because we've brought her up quite a bit in this episode, and we know she's a cinephile, and we know she has a subscription to the Criterion channel, where this movie currently resides and has for quite a while. Do you think that Pamela Anderson has seen The Shout?
Yes, but I think she saw it like this year or within the past 2 years.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a new watch for her.
Yeah. I feel like she
would love this.
It was programmed, I think, as part of their like synth thing. I think it was also programmed for EO and stuff like that. So I think she probably saw EO.
Mm-hmm.
I think first of all, Pamela Anderson has 1,000% seen EO, and I think she loved it. And I think she was then like, oh, they've got some other stuff by that director on here. Let me check that out. Oh my God, Alan Bates. I love Alan Bates. He's so hot. And then like clicked in and watched it maybe with one of her sons that is a dead ringer for his father, Tommy Lee. And I think she would have been like unnerved, but had a really good time. I can also see a version of Pam Anderson watching this movie and being like, oh, I wish I was in this. I wish I was in a movie like this.
Yeah. Is she still married to Tommy Lee? Are they still together?
They've been divorced.
I don't know anything
90s.
about them really. Okay. I just know that he has a big dick and they did a sex tape and he was
They didn't do a sex tape. They got married. He filmed them having sex, and that was then stolen from their house by a contractor who then leaked it to the tabloids.
Whoa. Okay. So it's a traditional sex tape in that it was actually leaked by accident and not by a publicist.
Yes, she's outrageously sensitive about it. She fucking hates it. She tried to sue those people to hell and back and wasn't able to.
That's crazy that they're not in jail or something.
Yeah. And her lawyers convinced her not to because they thought they could make more money a different route, and that didn't pan out. And then she sued Tommy Lee for divorce when he was exceptionally physically violent with her, and he went to jail for domestic violence.
God, I had no idea any of this happened in an answer.
Because it's all left out of the Motley Crue biopic film The Dirt, in which he's played by also abusive piece of shit, Machine Gun Kelly.
Jeez.
They leave in Vince Neil killing the drummer of Hanoi Rocks, but they cut out Tommy Lee going to prison for longer than Vince Neil did for murder for domestic violence against Pamela Anderson.
Do you know what you would love? My friend Amy Statz wrote a play called Eddie and Dave that she and my best friend Megan in New York starred in, which is a MTV biopic type live play about Van Halen, where Amy plays Dave and Megan plays Eddie. And I was gonna play Valerie Bertinelli, but then I moved to Los Angeles and couldn't do it. But yeah,
that's fun.
Anyway, I think that's it for this episode of Bloodhaus. Loved the shout. Thank you so much for picking it. If you liked this, please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at bloodhousepod. Drusilla, where are you?
I am at sisterhidedesign.com. That's my work. That's all my stuff. That's my posters and my art. I'm over there. You can also catch me on Letterboxd at Sisterhide or Drusilla Adeline. And I'm on Instagram at Sisterhide. Probably not for long. I'm gonna be honest. Probably. I don't see myself on Instagram through to the end of the year. It's getting worse. Same way. A lot. And on top of it, they also like change the layout on like everyone's pages, and I hate it. And like Mark Zuckerberg's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Yep. And I honestly, I might even just deactivate all my socials. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But until then, what about you, Josh? How can people shout at you?
I am on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Joshua Conkel. Next week, we are returning to the present to talk about a buzzy new horror film from last year or the year before, from French Canada. What is it?
We are watching a movie that you have seen, but I have not. It is brand spanking new, and it is by a filmmaker who's been like churning out very, very, very interesting work up in Canada that has finally broken out into the mainstream. And so we will be logging on and checking in to see what's going on in Les Chambres Rouge, Red Rooms.
Can't wait for you to see it. Bye, everyone. See you next week. Thank you.